Episode 9 is set to deliver tons of new twists and turns and surprises for the fans around the world by writer and director J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one of the things that a lot of people are just really looking forward to seeing in, of course, this movie is the big surprises to come that will change our perspective on the past two films. From what we have been hearing is that the Episode 9 ending itself is going to change the sequel trilogy entirely, kind of similar to what happened in The Empire Strikes Back and in Return of the Jedi, and how you view the whole entire original trilogy in a different way after learning that Luke, Leia, and of course Darth Vader are all related. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with Rey, Anakin Skywalker, and more. Specifically, a description of Rey walking in the woods of a planet that looks similar to that of Endor. However, many tropical plants are seen. It's at nighttime with a full moon overhead. In the distance is the apparition of Anakin Skywalker, which begins to walk closer to Rey. The next goes over the figure of Anakin, beginning to walk around Rey in a similar fashion to when Anakin Skywalker is walking around Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith, when he revealed himself as the Sith Lord. The Anakin figure eventually morphs into an Obi-Wan Kenobi figure, and it's described that dialogue is audible during the scene. Eventually, the Obi-Wan figure now changes to Luke, talking to Rey. The last goes over Rey and the Anakin figure face to face as it begins to fade into thin air. So I really want to dive into this. Now, this sounds like something that you would see out of an animated TV series of sorts, right? Like something out of the Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels, in or around those lines. You know, these Force ghosts that are cycling around Rey, that starts off as Anakin Skywalker, which, by the way, is very intriguing for sure. You know, we do know that this movie is going to have a lot of cameos in it, and Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan are said to be one of the, or two of the actual major characters, or the cameos, I should say, in Episode 9. Now, for Anakin Skywalker to come closer to Rey, you know, step by step, and then start walking around her, and morphing into Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then into Luke Skywalker himself, and then back to Anakin, as now Rey and Anakin are face to face. This really does raise a question. Now, we do know that Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams are evolving the concept of Force ghosts, right? They are actually introducing new powers for the concept of Force ghosts in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. So with Yoda, you know, they started off with the bolt of lightning, you know, generating from the sky and how he can manipulate the weather and whatnot. And then now in Episode 9, we hear that Mark Hamill's version of Luke Skywalker's Force Ghost is going to be a very powerful one. Now, this also seems that all three of these ghosts are actually interconnected as almost one being of sorts. That's how I see it as well, in a way. You know, as if they're all connected and they can manipulate each other, you know, their appearances. I don't know what's really going on here. Maybe it's just Anakin Skywalker taking on different forms, or it could very well just be three separate Force ghosts talking to Rey, cycling around her. However, it's only one by one, if that makes sense. So first, it's Anakin Skywalker walking closer to Rey, circling around her, changes to Obi-Wan, talks to her, then changes to Luke Skywalker, and then reverts back to Anakin Skywalker. So this is kind of, you know, what J.J. Abrams wanted in The Force Awakens, except it was all only about Anakin Skywalker, where a Force ghost is basically able to morph into something else. Now, in The Force Awakens, you know, one of the original ideas by J.J. was that there was going to be this hybrid Force ghost, where Anakin Skywalker would be able to switch to a different version of Darth Vader, with Darth Vader having a hood over his head. A very interesting idea for sure when it comes to a Force ghost in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and I'm honestly hoping that we do get to see something truly incredible when it comes to Anakin, and by far, this sounds pretty impressive. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when it comes to Rey, I'm starting to really question myself, why would she even actually see Anakin Skywalker or Obi-Wan Kenobi at get that. Now, we do know that Obi-Wan's voice was heard in the Force Awakens flashback sequence, right? We heard all about that. And it could be a clue that she's a descendant of Kenobi, or actually knew Kenobi at one point in time, or like has seen his Force ghost on Jakku, for example. It's possible. The other thing is that, you know, when we look at Episode 9, we do know that J.J. Abrams is really going to expand the concept of Jedi lore and Sith lore and Force ghosts and everything and all the like, right? So a lot of things really are coming our way when it comes to Episode 9, changing and evolving a lot of aspects of Star Wars and existing characters like, of course, Luke, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Rey, Kylo, Leia, you name it. If they're actually just going to create him in the form of CGI, I really would not like that. I would much prefer him be in the form of Anakin Skywalker's, you know, the version of Hayden Christensen. And if they can do that, if they can bring him in and pull him in and have him play a little role in Episode 9, I think it'll make all the fans very, very happy. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.